This is a short video for our Better Practice students about accessing Moodle and academic writing. So I'll show you some shortcuts and things that you become familiar with as you start this journey at CHC. So welcome along. So I'm on the Moodle page, so I've logged into Moodle through your portal, and this is your dashboard. Now my dashboard is going to look different to you. I've got access to a few more areas. So I'm just going to talk initially about academic writing. So I've typed academic writing in, and I've searched, and there it comes up as a module. Now, all students have access to this. So I click on the academic writing, and it has the normal traditional landing page for Moodle. It's got some graphics, some information about it. It's got some general info, not much in that one there. APA referencing is the style in education. So here is some links to the APA website about some basic conditions, some style guides, and so on. So I think probably just go into a little bit into there shortly. But also there's a module. You can click and start here, and that will open up a short walkthrough on the referencing style that's required at university level and particularly at CHC. So let's go for a reference example. So I'm clicking on that site there, because you might have a text and you want to say, what do I do? Okay, online media, audio-visual, textual works. Well, let's go with a couple of those. So with text works, I'm looking at a journal, a magazine, a newspaper article, and so on. As a book, that might be an edit in a book, a report by a government. So there's all the different ones. So let's choose one. Let's go for a journal article, which might be quite common for you. So we're going to have here, and it gives an example in a journal article what you would write. So it has the same format for nearly all of them, and that is author, or in this case, multiple authors, full stop between things. This is the title of the article in the journal, and in italics is the journal itself. And there's a URL that would link to that journal article, perhaps because it's an online journal. So that's what you put in your reference list. Now, in your text that you use, you will put in parentheses the author. Now, et al. Means many. So Grady plus many. So if there's more than two, et al. Will be fine. And you put the year of publication. So it's author, date up here, and that gets transferred here. So you can do it in two ways. You can put them together, or you can say Grady et al. And then put the date there. Either is fine. Okay, if the journal doesn't have, this is a web page, DOI, don't include it there. Always include the year, the issue, the number, and more information about that. So that's an example of a journal article, because we selected the journal article. So let's go back and have a look at examples. And let's have a look at audio-visual resource that we might have. I'm just trying to have podcasts, TED Talks, YouTube. Might have a reference there. So let's say using a YouTube video. So we'll click on there. What does it have? Well, again, it has author, date, and this time it tells you, because why has it got a date with with the other one just had a year? Well, because YouTube things change very frequently, so it's important to capture what that exact date might be. And full stops between each bits, even here. Now, this one, it's different. It is italicized the article of the title of the YouTube and where it's from, the URL. This one's from Harvard University. Again, same format. Author, date, italicize the title, the URL. And what would you put in the in-text reference? You would put, very similar to previously, there it is. There it is. Okay. And a YouTube channel has something similar. So you can go through a number of examples that you might use. I might go to a website. So let's go right back up to here, where a website is. So where's a website live? It's an online, and it's a media form. So if I come here, there's all the different social media, but here's the websites and web pages. So let's have a look at those. Web page on a website. So let's click on that because you'll use lots of those things. And it breaks it up onto different types of web pages and websites. Let's have a look at something like a curriculum document, which is, say, a CARA. You might have already come about those, or an individual author or an organisation. Going to start here. So this is a government agency, National Institute of Mental Health. Normal font, date, July, because websites do change over time. Full stop between each section, and italicized the title of that website or that web page in the website, and who is the owner or authors of that website in a URL. And notice indented from the second line. The in-text reference puts down the National Institute of Mental Health, the authorship, and the date. If we scroll down, an organisation, for example, might be an org. World Health Organisation is not a government website, but it is an organisation. Similarly, normal font, and it gives a date with a day, italicise the title, URL that is there, and that similar format is referenced there. Individual author now. So this is the author Horowitz, B. Now we put down their initial because there might be more than one person with that surname. And we're, again, giving the date at the time. Now, what do I do if I don't know what the copyright time is or when this article was written? Well, if you go to a website, often down the bottom it will tell you what date it was put there. Or it's a post, it will tell you exactly the date. That's the date you put in there. What if I can't find that information? Well, you put the date you accessed it. Previous alliterations of references had retrieval date or something. Well, this now, in a sense, is your retrieval date. However, if it explicitly tells you the date of authorship, you write that date down. If not, go the date of retrieval. Again, it is italicized, so on. So there is information about those things that are there. So they are common. It's important to acknowledge your sources in your academic writing. So I'm going to go back a few clicks. Pop out of the APA. Back to our Moodle site. Hopefully I can get there soon. Here we are. Academic writing. The second aspect I'd like to talk to you about here is the writing presentation guides. So it talks about what academic writing would look like. So it's a download. And it talks about different genres, talking about different tense, talking about how a reference is and gives examples of it. This one's not going to tick you too much, but this will assign presentation and submission guide and the language and definitions. So these will be good downloads for you to put in a file to give you a bit of a clue about those things. To quickly have a look at two of them, then I'll pull one of those across here, and this is a sample of some student work, and it gives some annotations about in-text referencing and so on, and throughout headings, how you do the different headings to create meaning in your report, going all the way down to our references at the end here, and it shows you all those things we talked about previously. So that's not a bad one for you to come up with in terms of the referencing guide. You'll find it very useful. So that's our academic referencing. I want to now jump over to Moodle proper. To do that, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. The other way of accessing it is you can do a search here for an individual unit. So I'm going to look at education psychology. One of the codes is E113. I can type it in there. Or if it's on your subject area, you can put it on your dashboard search as we did with academic writing. It should pop up. It's a combined unit for MTeach as well, and it has a different subject code. And this is the normal landing page for Moodle. Lecturers welcome. Unit information, always an important part to have a look at there. It will have text information. It will have a unit outline there. So we'll pull this one up and have a quick what pops up there. And it will give you important information of the unit outline about its title, what degrees it's relevant to, what's the main thrust of it, the rationale for it, what content are we going to be covering, what learning is associated with that content, and the assessment task, which often draws people's attention to. Now in there it says task 1's critical responses and reflections, and there's 5 of them. Teaching strategies, you have to do a 1,500 word sort of essay/report, and you have to analyse a case study. So there's 3 assessment tasks, and it tells you, if we have a look here, when they're due over the semester, week 9 and week 14. And if you underneath that is the elaboration. So the elaboration go into more detail about what is covered in that assessment and gives you a scaffold and information about those things. So there's, for example, here's some of the videos you need to analyse in that task. The case study here, this is what you need to do and how would you set that out. Underneath there's an important area that some people are remiss in not looking at. In other words, here's the rubrics or criteria sheet that will be marked on. Now, this is important to understand so that you don't say go off on a tangent, because what the lecturer is going to mark you on is this. So for example, task 1 was just responses, but task 2's got a little bit of sort of report essay, and this is what they're going to be looking at. They're going to be looking for identification of strengths, analysis of the identified strategies. Part B goes into application, and this one here is about academic writing. And most education units will have academic writing. So that's the unit outline that we found under the tile of ES 113. So here, unit information. What else is in unit information? Often in unit information, you'll find a schedule of topics that are going to be covered. Can't see it on this one. Let's go into module, and then you have all these modules, and basically most modules are 1 week. Week 1, module 1, and so on, although some might cover a couple of weeks. Now this one's not much on this page, there's a few articles there, but this is the articulate module. So it's now transformed. So week 1 we dive in, and this is a self-paced work through, and it goes on to module 1, why is the study of education psychology? Why do that? And there's a start button. You notice as you go to the start button here, it opens up all these sub-pages that are here. And as you progress through, you'll progress through those ones. And it has different topics within this week's work. So as I go through, it talks about the introduction, key questions. It'll have a video perhaps to introduce your topic. That's a Padlet of people who put some submissions about that in response to the reading or the topic. Lots of good stuff there. And then when you finish that, here's a textbook, and you finish that, you go to continue and you've jumped to the second page. Now you scroll through and do these exercises. Here's a little flip chart, for example. There'll be different check for understandings, readings that you need to do, definitions you need to find, and so on. So it's got a very web-like interface with these units, and these that you work through. It'd be expected that you, if you're online particularly, that you work through at a fairly detailed level. Not everything that is there perhaps, but substantively so. And the lecturer in the online tutorial space will highlight the emphasis of what you're looking at and cherry pick the probably the high profile bits of information and concepts, whereas others readings that you might have done support that. So not every time you read every reading, but if you look at the unit, most units are designed to be achievable. We have a worldview, then they go on and talk about the worldview and so on. And notice we're progressing through here. So that's just one example of the module. Then you'll get to the last page and you return back to Moodle. Hopefully it goes and take us all out of Moodle, takes us back to our home page. Online classes is another tab to be familiar with. So these are enduring links usually, and that means you click on that and that will be the same link every time. What's not hidden in my screen, but will be hidden from you, that every week there will be a recording now labelled there. So the online classes are recorded and placed there if you're unable to do them. I really recommend that if you have not, we have a 90+% pass rate for people who attend online classes. If you don't attend and just rely upon your recordings, it's more difficult to ask and be involved in that discussion and you be an active learner. You're just really absorbing other people's learning. Now, there's obviously going to be times where you can't make one, and that's where the recordings are there for. But I would encourage you not to make that your default recording. The other one that is important for people is the assessment. Now, we saw it on the unit outline, but it'll also be elaborated here. Now, one of the things that you would like to keenly have a look at is, well, your due dates. Now, task 2 is a substantive piece. So it tells everything that's in the unit outline. And notice down here, it says this is the exact due date that it is. So use that information to guide your planning in terms of an assessment planner, for example. So there's some of the core aspects of Moodle and academic writing. And there is press repeat in terms of things here. There might be the odd other thing on here. News forums, and forums might become part of what you do, where you have discussion points, or you submit some opinions, or you or get information from lecturers. But unit information, assessment information, online classes are core course or unit outline information, and you'll have modules each week. This one's got something a little bit different. It's got a separate tile for readings and a separate tile for conversation rooms where you can lob yourself in. But they're probably a little bit distinctive to this unit. So welcome again to CHC. We look forward to having you on this journey. And of course, you can always email lecturers and asking them for information. Easy. And it's probably easy if you do that direct, although there is capacity. Maybe I'll quickly go through what that would like here. You can actually email through here by clicking on participants here and sending them a message. But talk to your lecturer about that first. You know their email will be on Moodle. Again, welcome and enjoy your learning.